Hello, this is the My Artifact episode number 3528. Today's date is August 9, 2025. It's been almost like morning at 7:50 a.m. Alright, let's jump into the psychological test. Alright. Okay, I'm actually giving the test of self monitoring and scale by Mark Snyder. Okay, couple of questions I already asked in previous artifact episode, so I'm gonna continue. All right, yeah. Okay, let's ask. I can only defend what I truly believe in. That is true or false? Yes, that is true. I can only defend what I truly believe in. But is it real? But let me explain. Let me understand this question little bit better. But sometimes na you have to think that you understand, but it's not. मैं केवल उसी बात का बचाव कर सकता हूँ जिस पर मैं सचमुच विश्वास कर सकता हूँ. या दैट इज ट्रू. टू सक्सीड इन द लाइफ एंड रिलेशनशिप आई ट्राई टू बी वॉट अदर expect to to be. Wait. To succeed in a life and relationship, I tried to be what other expect to be. That is completely false. Okay, wait. If I'm kind of like a giving any conclusion, let me understand this question. Okay, I'm totally understand it should supposed to be false, but yeah. जीवन और रिश्तों में सफल होने के लिए मैं वैसा बनने की कोशिश करता हूँ जैसा दूसरे मुझसे अपेक्षा करते हैं. That is completely false. Okay, yeah. Like what exactly is this thing? Is this kind of like a something that ki, you are kind of like a something expecting a way to make your life and relationship as better from others? I don't know, but I'm gonna put the false here. Yeah, I can be friendly with the people I can't stand. I can be friendly with the people I can't stand. That is false. I cannot be a friendly with people I can't stand. Can't stand, what is actually meaning of can't stand? Wait. Still, even if like let's just understand. Okay, yeah. मैं उन लोगों के साथ मित्रत्व व्यवहार कर सकता हूँ जिन्हें मैं बर्दाश्त नहीं कर सकता. मित्रत्व व्यवहार, like I should supposed to be friendly with such a people who are kind of like a something just I can't stand. Like let's just say there is a kind of like a somebody guy who is a kind of like a somebody always against. How would I supposed to be act as a friend or things like that? I don't know. I can't be a kind of like a something. I can't be a friendly to such a person who just can't stand probably. Okay, yeah, but sometimes it is really essential. But like basically is this thing na, it kind of like a lead you to little bit toxic way. Okay, like basically you are putting lot of energy to kind of like a convince them that your side is right, but they meant to be not meant. They meant to be kind of like a. They meant to be kind of like always against you. So I don't know. Okay, I don't want to kind of like a something spend my energy to such a person to convince to my side. No, I don't. I rather kind of like a lose those people. So I can't be friends with those people who just can't stand. So that is, can I be friendly with those people I can't stand? That is completely false. Yeah, that is, I can. Yeah, next. I am not always what I seems to be. Okay, let me understand this question little bit better. I am not always what I seems to be. मैं हमेशा वैसा नहीं होता जैसा दिखता हूँ. That is true. Yeah, I am kind of like always something very different that it seems to be. So yeah, and every person is okay. Yeah, you can't kind of like a something judge the person, but that is true. Like every person is very different from inside. Probably so. I think that I am little bit different from inside. I kind of like a show very different person and outside, so that is true. All right, I complete the test. Okay, it's actually giving me a report. Okay, let me understand this report. I will go to the chat GPT and kind of like a something. I'm gonna put this photo, this, and uh, describe this image in simple language. Alright, yeah. So after I test, they actually giving me the result. Okay, so it result says that ki test, it says you have low control over how you communicate. Okay, yeah, that is somewhat true. I have a little bit low control regarding about how would I communicate. That is true. Your behavior stay the same in a different situation. That is also true. Yeah. And you won't, and you don't feel the need to change it. That is also true, but yeah, I'm kind of like a something agree with this statement, but at the same time I'm not really agree with the statement. Okay, but still, you are open and honest when talking. Yeah, that is true, but some people may feel uncomfortable because you are very straightforward. That is also true. So these are kind of like a some sort of point that they mention in this particular psychological test, which is, yeah, that is okay. Okay, yeah, probably it's really good. Yeah. Okay, should I ask another test? Okay, let's go through another test. Communication skill assessment test. All right, let's go that. Open the test. All right, yeah. Now question is, the speaker does not give me a chance to talk. I have something to say, but there is no way to say even a word. What exactly is this thing? This situation is annoying or this situation is not annoying? Okay, you have to choose a kind of like some particular option. But first of all, let me understand what is exactly the meaning of this question. Let me translate. Okay. वक्ता मुझे बोलने का मौका नहीं दे रहा है. मुझे कुछ कहना है पर एक शब्द भी कहने का कोई रास्ता नहीं है. तो do you annoyed or like in this situation is annoyed, or is this situation is not annoyed? Okay, so let me explain the scenario. Okay, yeah. Let's just imagine you are in parliament. Okay, yeah. And there is a particular debate is actually happening, and you have a really strong point regarding about that particular debate. Okay, yeah. But your opponent is not kind of like a giving the chance to talk to you. Okay, yeah. So in this particular situation, what would you feel? Do you feel annoyed, or what would you or do you feel not annoyed? Annoyed means like that, like angry or things like that. Okay, so basically if my opposition is kind of like a something not giving me a chance to say a single word, then probably I might gonna consider myself as annoyed. Okay, yeah. But I also consider that ki everyone has its own right. Okay, yeah. And parliament is not going anywhere. Okay, yeah. My thing is that I just have to wait, okay, when that particular opposition end his topic, and when I have a kind of like a time, I would kind of like a something when they kind of like a giving me time, I will kind of like a show my point. Okay, yeah. But dude, that is completely wrong now. Like why, like when you have kind of like a some topic uh, to correct that particular opposition, you just have to correct right away, na. Dude, um, yes, that is somewhat true, but there is a proper kind of like a some procedure. Okay, yes, there is a kind of like a something way that if you have a point to talk, you can talk, but wait for your opportunity. Okay, because if that particular person just talking and you in between you just kind of like a saying your word, the value of the word is became little less because you are creating chaos. What do you mean by that? Okay, let me explain. Okay, so let's just imagine a simple scenario. You are in the parliament, okay, and basically people are kind of like talking about some sort of debate and things like that. You have really right reason to kind of like say this thing, but if you don't really wait and you just kind of like express your point in between the argument or in between that opposition things like that, the value of your argument is became very less, even if that s- value is always have very big or kind of like something too much, but you present in a such a way which is kind of like something very scrambled and it's not really good. Like example, okay, let's just say that you are a kind of like a something like a there is a chef, okay, and who is kind of like a judging your dish, okay, another contestant is kind of like a make a, let's just say spaghetti, okay, not spaghetti, just let's just say haka noodles, okay, other people make very like a not good haka noodle, but you make really good, okay, and you just can't wait to show the chef, okay, so what would you do? Do you wait for your opportunity or you just kind of like a barge in and kind of like a put yourself, okay, as a protocol says, you just have to wait for your opportunity and then you showcase. If you didn't really wait and you just kind of like a showcase your haka noodles, um, in between other people kind of like a presenting, then what is actually happened? Yeah, your haka noodles is really good, really tasty, and every possible way that haka noodles is really good, but the way that you present is really wrong, okay, so judges will not gonna judge you regarding about how good is your haka noodles. It is also judge you that you misbehave regarding about how do you proceed your point, okay, and that is wrong, that is wrong, right? So even if your haka noodles is really good, really great, you just have to wait for your opportunity, and when you wait your opportunity and then you showcase your opportunity, then you showcase your haka noodles is not only get really good point but as well as you will get appreciation too, right? Like what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that if you present haka noodles without kind of like a something thinking and you just barge in, you might gonna get 10 out of 7, okay, 3 points are actually cut down is because of that you just kind of like a barge in yourself and things like that. So basically that 7 point is actually given for the haka noodles, okay, now there is another situation that a person who has the same haka noodles but he waits for his opportunity and he present his haka noodle in front of chef when he get that time, when he get that opportunity, and when he showcase that haka noodles he get 10 out of 10 marks. Let me tell you one thing, the haka noodles in first example and haka noodles in second example is exactly same. Nothing is changed, not even chef, not even contestant, everything is same. Just we just change the way that we present. Okay, so when we present, like when we just barge in and we just don't really care about other opportunity, then probably we are kind of like a losing our values. And that is wrong. All right, so regarding about this question, the speaker does not give me a chance to talk. I have something to say, but there is no way to say even a word. So in this situation, am I annoyed, or is this situation I'm not really annoyed? I think that I'm this in this situation I'm not annoyed. Okay, I gonna wait for the opportunity. and I'm gonna present my point. Okay, yeah, it's only way to kind of like simply be as possible. Okay, all right. Next, the speaker constantly interrupt me during our conversation. Is it annoying or is it kind of like a not annoying? Okay, yeah, obviously it's annoyed. Okay, yeah, because if the speaker or whoever the person is kind of like a interrupt during the conversation, you don't really like it. Okay, yeah, so probably in this particular situation I kind of like a let myself stop and kind of like a say, yeah, you can speak up, you can complete your point first, and then I will kind of like a talk to you. Okay, yeah, like a this is also kind of like a somebody very good gesture. You kind of like a somebody let that particular person says everything and then we talk. Okay, yeah, so in this particular situation I will definitely gonna annoyed. Okay, yeah, and I will gonna say just complete your statement first and then I will gonna talk. Okay, yeah, so in this situation I will gonna bit annoyed. Next, the speaker never look at my face during our conversation. I am not sure if they are listening to me. Is this situation is annoyed or not? Okay, so what exactly is this thing? Have you ever kind of like a experience that ki when we talk to the people, okay, yeah, we usually look at those people. Okay, yeah, regarding about that ki like look at those people means like what exactly is this thing? Okay, yeah, why we look at those people? Like basically other people just talking, na? It's not meant to be kind of like a looking at them. But let me explain. Yeah. Uh, I don't know how I supposed to explain, but yeah. Have you watched podcast? Okay. I'm like in India, there is so many people watch podcast. Okay, I also watch podcast too. Okay, yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing in the podcast. There is a two people who's actually talking. Okay, yeah. There is nothing really need to see. Okay, like there is nothing really kind of like a something yeah, you just have to hear it. Okay, it's not really meant to be kind of like a simply see the thing, but people still see what does people talk. Okay, yeah, let me explain. When we do communicate, we are not consuming information through just by ears. Okay, no, we are also consuming information through eyes too. When other person is actually talking, let me tell you one thing. When person is actually talking, we actually look at them, and when we look at them, we understand that this particular person is kind of like a saying something good or not good or whatever it is, how much he is confident or not. Because the confidence is kind of like a, yeah, you can heard, and as well as you can kind of like a see. Okay, yeah, because when the people is actually talk, their facial expression change, the way that they express their thoughts is changed. Like basically is this thing, their entire structure is actually changed, the way that they hand moves and things like that. Like basically when we look at those people when they are talking, we understand that ki how does that particular person saying true or not. Okay, yeah, example, let's just, if you are kind of like a something kind of like a something just learn the entire speech. Okay, yeah, and you are presenting that speech in front of hundreds of people. So what kind of like a something, the way that you present, you just kind of like a something that ki you just kind of like a stand in front of your mic and you just kind of like a saying everything what you just kind of like a something remember. Okay, and this is what kind of like a thing is it, you are not presenting the speech, you are kind of like a somebody being a robot, and kind of like a somebody whatever you learn you just kind of like a present them, and this is what exactly makes it boring. Okay, yeah, so that's why like most of the speeches like basically I'm not really sure, but uh, like a like a second standard, like a, let's just say third standard, a student who is actually giving the speech, obviously he didn't know anything regarding about what he was kind of like a talking. Obviously his parents is taught them to speak this, speak that, so and that particular person, that boy or that child learn entire speech and kind of like a present in a such a way in a robotic language. Okay, yeah, we actually consider that is also really good. Okay, yeah, but it's very robotic. Okay, because there is nothing really, he was not really emphasizing any kind of like a simply word that he was kind of like a saying. Okay, yeah. So this is kind of like a simply very wrong. Okay, so in this particular situation we judge that ki this person is kind of like a learn the entire speech and kind of like a simply present. Yeah, so this is what it is. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki when people are actually talking, we actually give little bit attention to that particular person, that what he was kind of like a saying, we looked at that person, and that is actually happened inside our mind automatically. Okay, yeah. When someone is actually talking, we look at them. Okay, yeah, we look at them. Now in this particular question, that ki if you are kind of like a talking, okay, yeah, and other person is not actually look at my face, okay, yeah, so would you annoyed or would you not? Well, probably I also understand that ki other people are not really look at them is because of multiple reason. First of all is that ki when you are doing a conversation and other people are purposefully not looking at them, purposefully, let's just, I'm actually putting the word purposefully. Purposefully means like that purposefully he is not looking at you. In that particular situation, I am bitterly annoyed. Okay, yeah. Let's just example that ki you went to date. Okay, yeah, you and your girlfriend are went to date. Okay, yeah, you are actually talking about career and things, and your girlfriend is kind of like a looking at the mobile screen and she just nodding, yes, this, that. Are you annoyed? Are you feel annoyed or not? Definitely I feel annoyed. Okay, yeah. Is because of that she is not kind of like a giving me that much importance when I'm talking. Okay, yeah. So do I feel really annoyed? Yes, I definitely feel annoyed. Okay, yeah. So in this particular situation, I might gonna kind of like a consider as that ki if I'm talking, people should supposed to be look at me, but I also consider that ki people who are not looking at them is because of any kind of like a purposeful reason. Okay, yeah. Means like that, what is actually purposeful reason? Let's just, okay, yeah. um Almost like, okay, almost 90% of chance that you might gonna look at them. Okay, yeah, when the other people are actually talking, 90%. 10% is not actually looking at them is because of particular reason that might kind of like a something very different and things like that. Okay, yeah. So regarding about this question, okay, the speaker never looked at my face during the conversation. I'm not really sure if they're listening to me. Is this situation is really annoyed? Yeah, I'm kind of like something bit really annoyed. Okay, yeah. Okay. Talking with speaker feels like waste of time. Why they kind of like a putting the mention as a speaker? Okay, talking to a speaker feels like waste of time. Okay, because okay, every time they are kind of like a using this speaker word. Okay, and I'm not really sure what is actually meaning of that. किसी वक्ता से बात करना समय की बर्बादी जैसा लगता है. Talking to the speaker feels like waste of time. No, not really. Okay, probably like I don't know. Okay, like basically is this thing na ki what exactly I'm trying to tell you. Okay, yeah. In this particular question, they actually mention the speaker. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing that ki talking to the speaker feels like waste of time. No, it's not really annoyed. It's no, I don't know, dude. It's a like why like basically they purposefully use this speaker word. Okay, and I'm not really sure why, because when I'm kind of like a mention the speaker word, then there is a whole new example is actually happening. Okay, yeah. But I don't really think that it's a waste of time. It's not really annoying. Okay, like basically if I'm trying to talk with a speaker, probably it's not really annoyed. Okay, yeah, like you just have to kind of like somebody just talk and things like that. But it depends on the other person point of perspective. Other person are kind of like somebody not just trying to kind of like somebody let you talk, and he just kind of like somebody, I don't know. But do I feel waste of time if I talk to the speaker? It depends on variable factor, the person and things and something like that. But um, I don't really consider it a waste of time. Okay, yeah. Like basically, I am kind of like somebody talking to that particular speaker guy. So probably he's actually giving me opportunity to talk. So that is good. So I'm gonna explain my point as good as possible as I would way. So probably it's not kind of like somebody annoyed for me. It's not annoyed, yeah, probably. Speaker is constantly feeding. Pencil and paper are more interesting for them than my word. Okay, fiddling. Okay, fiddling. Okay, so what exactly it means? They actually use this speaker word more and more. Okay, so it's a very different terminology when you use speaker word. वक्ता लगातार कुछ ना कुछ कर रहा है, मेरे शब्दों से ज़्यादा पेंसिल और कागज उसके लिए दिलचस्प है. So are you annoyed or not? Yes, I bitterly annoyed. Okay, yeah, because he is constantly fiddling on things that, like, it kind of like represent that ki my words is not really important for them. So probably I would bitterly annoyed. Definitely I'm gonna be bitterly annoyed, yeah. The speaker never smile. I have feeling of disconnect and anxiety. Is this situation is really annoyed? Um like the speaker never smile. I have feeling disconnect and anxiety. I am not really sure why they mention the speaker word, because like just the construction of the sentence is like a very wrong in every possible scenario. Because when we use speaker, it means something that ki a person with a mic and kind of like a saying something and things like that. Okay, yeah. Like I'm kind of like somebody just thinking as a parliament scene. Okay, yeah. But still, the speaker never smile. I have feeling of discontent and anxiety. So is this situation is annoyed or not? Obviously annoyed. Like it kind of like a represent that the person who I'm talking is like basically never, what exactly never smile means like that. Okay, yeah. When we do any kind of like a conversation, as I mentioned, it full of emotion, smile, happiness, sadness and things like that. Those emotions are represent through facial structure. And when other person actually talking to other someone else, it's kind of like a thing that ki we also resonate with their emotions too. Example, stand up comedy. Okay, in the stand up comedy, the person who is actually talking, the way that he talks in a such a way that other people laugh. So because of his kind of like the way that he say, we kind of like express our emotions. Okay, yeah. And this is very normal thing. Okay, yeah, this is kind of like a something very, it kind of like a represent that the audience is kind of like a somebody listening that comedian very carefully, right? Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you, in this particular situation, in this particular example, the speaker never really smile. Okay, let me tell you one thing. Okay, yeah. In this particular example, they mention a speaker. Speaker is not meant to be kind of like a somebody, just a kind of like a somebody person. He just kind of like a somebody is this thing that he just he just kind of like a somebody, as I mentioned, the robot. Okay, yeah, he just kind of like a somebody saying something without any smile, without any kind of like a emphasize, any kind of like a word and things like that. So in this particular situation, do you feel really annoyed? Still, I am very confused regarding about this word speaker. Like basically in this particular scenario, in this particular situation, the speaker is actually speaking something, or the speaker is kind of like a listening. Okay, yeah, because the question is kind of like a somebody represent that the speaker is listening. Okay, yeah, he never really smile, he's never really kind of like a giving me any kind of like a somebody feedback regarding about when I'm talking. regarding about smile, emotions and things and something like that. It kind of like a giving me discontent. So basically in this particular situation, the question represent that speaker is listening, but they mention as a speaker, so speaker should supposed to be speak. So it's very confusing, right? It's a very confusing at the same time. The construction of the sentence is very very wrong. Okay. But regarding about this question, I am kind of like giving, is it kind of like a annoyed? Okay, yeah. I would probably say I'm bitterly annoyed. Okay, yeah. Still, they still mention the speaker name. I am not really sure why, but still they still mention the speaker name. All right, yeah. The speaker distract me with question and comment. Is it annoyed? Yeah, definitely annoyed. Okay, yeah. Like basically the other person is kind of like somebody distracted from the stuff that I'm saying. So is it this? Is it? Yeah, it's yeah, it's really annoyed. Yeah. All right, I should supposed to be end here. This is it. This is it. It's been almost like a 30-minute. Rest of the test I will gonna continue in next artifact episode. All right, and thank you.